What's up? What's up? What's up? Anyway, welcome to YouTube/Twitch. Doing both because again, Black Friday, I got the $10 a month deal to get to remember about. I got to make sure the money's in the account when you go to hit it because I don't use it for anything. And yeah, so if someone wants to jump in, it's pinned on YouTube. It's listed on Twitch. If you're on Twitch and you want to jump in, let me know and I'll just repost the link because it disappears. That's why I kind of like YouTube better. But they're both, I don't know. I'm getting used to Twitch. One of these days, Danny Boy, welcome Dan and Vince and Andrew and Brian. Hey, Brian. And who else is in here? Or someone else I missed. Dan and Brian, and I think Zolan said he's driving to work. Andrew. Anyway, haven't seen Brian on a stream in a while. Yeah. So I did the StreamYard's $10 a month thing. Even I can sort of afford that during Black Friday. So it's $10 a month instead of $25 a month. You get everything you do with the $25 a month. The only thing is that StreamYard's is always there. I could still put my icon there, like you can with the other ones, but the StreamYards doesn't go away. See, it's over here on the, it moves over here. But who cares? For $10 a month, and to be honest, I'd rather give them the $10 a month. And I've actually had this conversation with Gage about StreamYards way back when they first started. We all first started using it. I said, you should have, a $5 or a $10 a month package, similar to the free, but, somewhere in between the free and the full on. He's like, yeah, but it's so expensive to do the streaming and, it costs us money. And I'm like, yeah, but if I'm using the free account, it's costing you the same amount of money. So if you collect $5 a month, you're paying at least half, keep a lot of the restrictions, but let us have the, like the 30 hours a month. I wouldn't mind paying $5 or $10 and have a 30-hour or 40-hour a month limit, but be able to have all the pretty face, my little thing here and, being able to do my own backgrounds and stuff like that. What's up, Dum Dum? Yeah, and he's like, it's money. It's like, but I'm trying to give you money. I like StreamYards. I want to support StreamYards. I just can't afford, $300 a year. It's just too much for what little I stream. I stream more this time of year. I don't know if you noticed. Vince was saying, it's been a long time since the morning stream. It's freaking cold out, so I'm not outside doing stuff. Normally, I'm out in the garage or I'm out in the yard, or it's too freaking cold. It's like 29 degrees out, and I'm just, no. And my shoulder's killing me, blah, blah, blah. Wah. Issue is I stream more in the winter than I do in the summer because I'm just doing less outdoor activities. And I'm going to close the door because the downstairs TV is driving me nuts. So, Dan, one of these days, I was going to hit you up the other night and we were chit-chatting and then everyone else kind of chit-chatted and I spaced. And I want to sit down with you and we'll do a live stream, figure out Twitch thing. Like, I don't get all the games and they're kind of, I keep thinking they're stupid, and they are. But they're kind of fun, the stupid little parachute drop and all that. I mean, they're just cute and stupid and fun. It's something to do when people are yakking. But anyway, today is Practical Printing Day, which is the whole point of this, is because I have like 2 or 3 really quick, stupidly easy, and I gotta paint that. That's driving me batty now. This door is just primered. It's fun. Let me rephrase that. This door is painted. This door is just primered because I had to replace this door because when I moved into this room, this is the master bedroom of the house originally. My parents moved out and we busted a wall out in the 2 little bedrooms on the other side years ago and made that one big room. It used to be 2 little rooms. Now it's one big room. They took that. I moved into this when they first got sick. And my mother first got sick, even before my father got sick. And when I moved the bed in, I clipped the panel and put a big hole in it. These are real wood. They're not particle boardy ones, but they're really thin. They're still kind of cheap. Anyway, I put a hole in it, so I went to Home Depot, bought a new one to where they came from. It was like $35. Started painting it and never finished it and drove me nuts. And I put it in. And so this one's painted, and this one's just primered, and that's driving me nuts now. That and I got to align it again because it's bowed over the years. Anyway, on to printing. Oh, and what other piece of information, if you guys don't know, if you notice, like on my thumbnails and all of that stuff, I have the two things. I was going to start another stupid channel for woodworking, and I was like, you know what? I don't have a big enough channel to worry about it. I'm going to do woodworking and 3D printing on the same channel. Honestly, a lot of my 3D printing is for woodworking, so it all ties together anyways, at this point anyways. So instead of having a new channel, what I'm going to do is color key my thumbnails. So if you come up and you want to watch one of my videos, you can quickly tell. Most of them will say it's a woodworking and, you know, the imagery and everything, but the outer border will be reds, orange, yellows, stuff like that for 3D printing. And if it's woodworking, there'll be, you know, a little border that's brown or tan, or so it'll be quickly and easily distinctible. If you don't want to watch a woodworking one, you don't have to. If you don't want to watch a 3D printing one, you don't have to. You can look by the thumbnail what it's about, or generally about. And then if it does both, I'll just put like a line and it'll have both borders. Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind doing the whole affiliation. I don't think it's a lot of money. What do you get? 10, 15 bucks a month? Whatever. But my thought with that is at $10 a month with the StreamYards, if I can get $5 or $10 a month, it basically pays for the StreamYards. So I wouldn't mind doing a whole affiliate over at Twitch. I still don't. There's a lot of Twitch that I don't like. It's still too gamer centric. It's too busy. This is much simpler. YouTube is a much simpler layout. Much, much simpler. And I'm not even looking at the chat over on Twitch. We have a Cloud Hunter on Twitch. We have Dan on Twitch. You can ask all you want, Cloud Hunter. Sorry, I didn't have the Twitch chat up. I have a 3D printer. I need a program to adjust the print size. What do you mean the print size? Buy followers, primes, and viewers on. Oh God, is this guy a? And I can't. Unless I go on Twitch, I can't delete him. Yeah, I need a Twitch mod. How do I do a Twitch mod? View on Twitch. View on Twitch. I'm assuming that guy's just a frickin'. Oh, turn the profile image, take you to channel home. Mute. And Cloud Hunter, Dan. How do I make someone not viewable on Twitch? See, that's Twitch is just, it doesn't make any sense to me. There's no, like, on YouTube, I just click on their name and go ban them. How do I ban them? All I can do is click reply. And I don't want to reply. I want to delete their asses. Oh, well, they're not really doing anything bad. They're just trying to sell stuff. All right, Cloud Hunter on Twitch. He would like to make his prints bigger or add more to the print, Cindy, like an editor thing. Okay, to make it... Okay, thanks, Old Curmudgeon. To make it bigger, you could do that right in your regular everyday slicer. What printer did you get there, Cloud Hunter? Let's start with that, because that makes a big difference. Because if you got a Prusa, you're going to want to use Prusa Slicer, no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm not the biggest fan of Prusa Slicer. I don't hate Prusa Slicer, even though a lot of people think I do, because I call them out on the ridiculously stupid stuff they bypass. But it's not a terrible slicer. I've actually been using it a little bit lately. Prusa Slicer, Cura, Idea Maker. Those are your three basic ones. If you've got a Creality, it's actually Cura. It's just a refaced Cura. That's your first thing you need to know there, Cloud Hunter. What printer you have and what slicer are you using to print on it? Let's start with that. How do I mod DB Makes? See, I don't even know how to do that, Dan. I don't have anywhere Prime Gaming. Look up, copy notes, translate. There's no way that I can see to mod you. Users in chat. DB Makes. Whisper, add, friend. Manage suspicious user. Dan's suspicious, but he's not a bad guy. Mod DB Makes. There it is. It's just like way too many steps. Mod Andrew. Mod Old Curmudgeon. We have a farming girl who I have no idea who that is. A graph, a lurks. I have no idea who all these people are. Type mod where, that's the thing. I mean, I figured it out. You got to go to users and chats, but it's just so much easier. There's so many more steps to do the same thing in Twitch than there is in YouTube. And a lot of it is just we're used to YouTube. I mean, we've been using it for a billion years. So it's one of those, I got to get over the thing. You have the FL Sun Q5Q. What is that? Let's go find out. Is that a Delta? I don't know FL Suns all that much. It is a Delta. That's a cool looking printer, dude. I don't know a lot about Deltas. I have never used one. But everything else is normal on it as far as slicers. Yeah, you had that same thing, didn't you, Damon? Now I think about it. Isn't that the one and only Delta you ever had? Anyway, you're probably going to use Cura. It's probably the best slicer for Deltas. It's the most pitched toward them. Idea Maker does it fairly well. I think, does it precisely even do a Delta? I'm sure it does. It pretty much does everything. The only thing it doesn't do is belt, where Idea Maker and Cura both do belt, and Prusa Slicer doesn't, but that's not a big deal. Okay. I'm assuming if you got that, you probably got a copy of Cura with it. Cura's not bad. Here's the thing. I've used them all. I've used Kiss Slicer. I've used, what's the one by MakerBot? Is it MakerBot or, I don't know, the other one made by the company. What's up, SPC? They all work. They're all good now. I mean, even S3D, we pick on Simplify 3D just because of their business structure. It still works. They all work. They all work really well, honestly. You choose one, you like the interface, you go with it. There are certain features I like about certain ones better than others, which is why I keep using them all. And I keep going back to Prusa Slicer, even though I really don't like the interface of Prusa Slicer. It's got a lot of really nice features that occasionally I might want to use a few of them. Idea Maker is by and far, I think, the most general, easiest to use, simple. I think it's the best layout. I find Prusa Slicer very confusing in its layout, and its Idea Maker actually has more settings, and yet I can find the setting easier. It's more clearly laid out, and it's got more control over things. Like the fans in both Cura and Prusa Slicer, I think are terrible. They want to control your fans. With Idea Maker, I can type in whatever I want at any layer I want, make the fan go any speed I want, any way I want, just by typing it in there and hitting click. And I can adjust it. Prusa Slicer wants to automatically speed it up and slow it down. That sounds really good. I find that freaking annoying. If I was doing like really high tech filaments, like ASAs and ABSs, and I guess with PETG, that's a good thing. PLA, you just want the fan on all the time. The only time you don't want it on is right in the first couple of layers, and I ramp it up. But I don't want it to go every layer gradually step up. I don't want it on at all for the first 2 or 3 layers. And then at layer 3, I put it on at like 50%. And then at layer 6, it's like 75%. And then on up, it's full on. Yeah, S3D is tabs. Idea Maker and S3D are almost identical. I keep getting people going from, converting from S3D now because they're, basically gone. And they're like, oh, Idea Maker is so confusing. Idea Maker is literally almost an exact photocopy of S3D. I don't get why people think, I don't know. What I have found is Prusa Slicer, a lot of people that use Windows, and most people use Windows, will much prefer Prusa Slicer because it looks like Windows. It reminds me of Windows 98. They just made it look prettier. It really did. The whole layout is very much Windows centric. I much prefer Idea Maker. I think it makes more sense. Everything's clearly labeled. There's, a lot of the icons in Prusa Slicer they're basic. You could tell by looking at them, but it takes me a second. Idea Maker has everything written. You don't even have to look at the icon. The name of the freaking thing is right down there. Anyway, let's get back to his problem. He wants to make it bigger or larger. If you're using Cura, do I even have Cura loaded? Because I stopped playing with it. I do. Cura 4.1. Come on, Cura. This is the one thing I really hate about Cura. Cura is the slowest loading piece of crap. It's also the slowest slicer of the 3. Oh, look, there's Cura 4.13 beta. Yay. And again, a lot of people don't like this. I actually like the old one before they made this a floating. It was just over there. It didn't block the screen or anything. This doesn't drag around well anymore. But anyways, let's load something up. Yes, okay. Okay, yeah. Overprotective max. Okay, yep. You can access whatever you want. If I click on it, I want it to access it. Where's my desktop? Well, let's do the Fortnite llama. Open that up. Okay. If you want to make this larger or smaller, it's literally right here, Cloud. You just drag and drop. You just drag on the handle. The blue one makes it taller, and actually it does it because it's uniform scaling here. You can individually do it. File has been modified. I don't care. Modeling errors. Highlighted areas indicate either missing or extraordinary surfaces. I don't see any. Oh, look at all that. Those are all support structures. It's looking for. I don't see anything missing. What's the highlight? Is it the blue? I don't know. But anyways, you can resize it right here. And you can actually type it right in. And all three of them have this. All four of them. Every slicer in the world has that if you're just trying to resize it. Put Kira. It's a memory hog too. Yeah. Who's this? What is VOR.ONG? I'm guessing that is a spammer. Much easier. Yeah, Idea Maker is just, it just makes a lot more. It's just a cleaner interface. It just makes more sense. I mean, look, pan, rotate, move, scale, they're all there. You don't have to worry about it. It's got texture. You can bowline right in the application, Prusa Slicer. You can do bowline connections in Prusa Slicer. It'll do it. It's just really confusing. I still find this kind of annoying. This is the one thing I don't like about this is when this window pops out, it's attached and you can't break it away and it's covering. So you're trying to set settings and yet you can't see the whatever is happening unless you kind of do this. And that's kind of annoying to me. But there's just so much more, especially with this groups and layers. I use this a lot. If you don't know what that is, go study it. Sequential printing. Again, all three of the major freebies have sequential printing. I find Prusa Slicer okay in sequential printing. I think Prusa Slicer is probably the easiest to set up. I think Idea Maker is the hardest to set up. It wants a lot of information, nozzle sizes and heat box sizes and carriage sizes and all kinds of stuff so it can actually properly model your hot end so you don't have collision. But once it's set up, I think it's actually one of the easiest to operate. The function in slicing is probably the easiest to operate. It's just, I don't know, I just find Idea Maker, and it just gives you by and far the cleanest supports. Now, Prusa Slicer has upgraded their supports finally and gotten rid of that stupid raft. And people are like, it's not a raft. It's a freaking raft. And it's still there. They just made it a solid plate now, and they've made it an actual raft instead of just a squiggly. But at least it's usable. It's still a waste of material. I do want to try their paint-on supports. I've been playing with them. I tried them before when they first initiated them. But again, their stupid little raft made it so halfway up it always broke free. Ideamaker.com. Sure. Idea Maker. And there you go. Software. Download center. This is where you actually download it. There's a couple of things I like about Idea Maker, and actually Kira initiated them beforehand. If you do practical printing, a lot of practical printing, you either want to use Kira or Idea Maker. They're the only two that do the structurally alternating shell / infill. And Prusa Slicer sort of incorporated, but it's terrible. It doesn't work. What it does is every other layer, or every third layer, or every fourth layer, whatever you set it at. Kira, there is no setting. It's either on or off. It's every other layer. Idea Maker, you can do it. Tanner! My man, Tanner. You got decent internet yet, Tanner? Damn it. Can you get in stream? Can you stream yet, Tanner? We need to do a modeling stream again, Tanner. We got to finish our submarines. A year and a half ago, we started. Me and him were modeling submarines. He was doing it in Blender, and I was doing it in Fusion, and we never really finished. Although I guess we both. A lot of crusty. What's crusty? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I'm on YouTube too. It don't matter. Either one. Mr. Curmudgeon. Mr. Old Curmudgeon. He's like one of the youngest ones here. Actually, I think Andrew's probably the youngest one here. Anyway. I'm not designing a thing and I've been yakking for half an hour. Oh no, you're not that young then. I thought you were younger than that. I thought you were in your late 30s. So Tanner's probably the youngest one here. Andrew or Tanner, one of those two. Anyway, age doesn't matter. I need tea. This is tea. I already had my cup of coffee. I'm having tea. I don't know why. I just started making my second cup and said, you know what? I want tea. Well, you're the youngest in Cloud Hunter. You're 24. That's young. You're a puppy. No. Anyway. I have Fusion fired up already. And I need to make a couple things. One of the things I got for Christmas was this. To replace this. This still works, but it's one of those. You pull the trigger and you smell the electronics burning. So, yeah. And it has an issue with this light. I've drained batteries because sometimes this light just never goes out. It's supposed to go out after like, I don't know, 30 seconds or something. And it just never goes out. And I got to keep playing with it to make it go out. Like, unplug it. And it's back on again. And I think it goes back on when you first put the battery in. But it doesn't go out. See, this one's out and this one's still not. Anyway, this one's brushless. It's new. It's much shorter body-wise. I have to make a holder for this because it's not going to fit where this one is. And it's smaller and shorter. And I got to figure out where I can hold it because, right now I have this one held back here in a nook and up here. But this one doesn't even have any up here. The only thing I can think of is to hold it right here at the actual socket. And I should really make myself bigger. Yeah, now you can see what I'm talking about. I think I'm just going to hold it here because you really can't hold it here because this is all curled and the trigger goes almost to the end. I might be able to get something in there, but it's really small. So I think I'm going to hold it here and here. And that way it hangs on the wall. And yeah, slow season. Actually, it doesn't. Yeah, whatever. So I got to design that. I also have a buttload of these little SD card. Little memory card things. USB memory sticks. There you go. Memory stick. That's the word I'm looking for. I have a small buttload of them. And I got more and more and more and a lot more that I'm now using for the CNC. And they go out for the CNC and flash drives. Yes. USB memory sticks, flash drives, whatever you want to call them. I don't have a holder for them. And I was just going to download a holder by design when there's got to be 8 billion of them out there. And there is. The problem is every one of them, the bottom is printed over. So if you stand up the USB stick in it, and you're outside my garage with the CNC and all the sawdust, you're literally going to drop it right into the sawdust. Like if, one doesn't have the actual stick in there and crap's going around, sawdust is going to fall in that crevice and just sit there unless I blow it out every day, which is not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Let's go with that. So my thought would be I'm going to make the slot a little bit longer. And I'm actually going to leave it open on the bottom. And I was like, oh, it's open at the bottom. You're going to get dust in it. Well, it's going to sit on something, tabletop, whatever. So that basically seals it. It's not perfect, but it is better than having the bottom closed. The only other thing I could do is like have it somehow clip up so the dust doesn't settle in it, but that's just not going to happen either. So I'm just going to build a little block, basically just like this thing with my little logo on it, and just have it so when you flip it over, all the slots will be open in the bottom. I love this color. You really can't see it on the screen. It looks more blue. My shirt looks more blue. These are both almost, this is a darker version, but they're actually like a teal, blue-green. It's a bluish green. It's not just blue. The screen's not really showing it. But anyway, so that's my plan, is we'll start with that. Yeah, that must suck, especially considering, you basically just came back to work. What's it been? Maybe 6 months? Yeah, it's not. It's like a teal. It's a dark teal green. Matter of fact, I think they call it. That one is actually Protopasta's mermaid tail green, which I don't think they make anymore. It really kind of upsets me because that's the one Protopasta color I really, really, really liked. But what I am going to print it in, and I have no idea what I do with it. I might have brought it in the other room already. Is Paramount 3D's teal green, whatever color they call it. Did I bring it in the other room already? I haven't even opened it yet. No, I did not. So what did I do with it? What did I do with that roll of filament? I put it over here because I knew I was going to open it on stream. This is probably one of my favoriteest colors in the world. And once again, it's like a blue, dark sea blue green. And I absolutely love it. It's sort of cleaned up, and now I can't find anything. Just now opening this up. I bought this like, I don't know, 6 months ago, a year ago. It is an absolute, see, it looks bluish again. It's not, it's like a green blue. It's really freaking awesome. I love this color. I like the darkness of it. See, it's almost the same color. Actually, it's darn close to the perfect. See, it looks blue. My pillow isn't blue. It's a sea greeny blue-green. Anyway, welcome to Color Incorrections. I hide things. No, I don't hide them in plain sight. I put them where I won't forget where they are so I can forget where they are. I clean, I find nothing. The place could be a total disaster area, and I can find the pin under the pile of crap. The minute I clean stuff, I can't find anything, but I can't stand a mess. And I'm a slob. I'm the biggest slob in the world. I make a mess. I throw stuff around. But when I'm done, I have to clean it up. It just has to, things have to go back where they belong. It drives me nuts if things aren't where they belong. But anyway, this is what I'm going to print it out of. I'm going to print two of them. One of them for in here, one of them for out there. I actually moved the Pumpkin King from there, which is called Big Empty Hole, to the room next door because I'm tired of the noise. Mr. Shane, the dangerous otter from the Deadly Den of Otters, sent me some 24-volt stuff. So I finally got the Pumpkin King 24-volt. But the power supply he sent me is an original ANET piece of crap. And oh my God, the fan on that thing is louder than all the other fans put together. And I just can't deal with it. It works fine. It's just really, really loud. And I just can't deal with it. It's just too freaking loud. So it got moved next door, at least temporarily. So the first thing I got to do is fire up Fusion here, which is already fired up. I just got to bring the window up, and then I can share it. And I need to keep chat where I can see it, I guess. And do this. And do this. And we'll fire up Fusion. Let's bring it all the way out so I can actually see what the hell I'm doing. And I think I already started this. Where did I put it? Did I not put it in computery stuff? Okay. Pretty sure I put it here. There's a way to list this. That's not what I wanted. Sort by last updated. There we go. So this is pretty much it. It's just a stupid block that holds the USB drive, a slot, and now I'm just going to repeat them and glue them together. And then export them. You know, I played with FreeCAD again the other day. I'm always, I don't know if you guys, I always play with the underdogs and the little guys. And I remember when Fusion was not popular and I was using it. I'm sorry, FreeCAD is terrible. It really is. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad it's free. I hope they keep moving, but the interface is terrible. The steps you have to go through to do a fillet. I mean, there's more steps. Like if I wanted to fillet this, I just click, I just click fillet and, type in a number and there's a fillet. SolidWorks isn't quite that fast, but it's damn close. And in some ways, I like SolidWorks better because if you do something that Fusion can't do, it doesn't just come up and say, I can't do it. It keeps calculating and trying to do it and displaying it. Where SolidWorks doesn't display it, it displays like an outline of what it wants to do. And, just a line drawing. And if it can't do it, it says, I can't do it. And the line will be red. But it doesn't bog down your computer. Fusion will go into freaking beach ball hell, spinning beach ball hell, and screw it all up, which I absolutely hate. That's one thing about SolidWorks. I do like quite a bit better. So I believe I don't even have to remodel anything. I can just pattern this thing, do a rectangular pattern. Do a body, click on body. I want your body. I want to go both directions, but mostly this direction. And I need to relocate myself so I know where the hell I am. All right. Let's go to the front. And just space them out. And I don't remember how big they were, which I really should have done first. Cancel. Sketch. Edit. Oh, I don't even have to do that. I can just inspect and go, how big is it from here to here? 16.975. Okay. So if I do the pattern again, rectangular pattern, I wish it would default to bodies, not faces. I never want to pattern faces. I don't know who would want to pattern faces. And I want to do it on this line. And I want to do like 3 is fine actually. And 3. So So we'll leave them at 3. Let's see. This one is, what did I say it was? 9. Now I can't remember. Wish there was I think there actually is. One direction. Spacing. Can I do 0? No. So spacing needs to be whatever the thickness of that thing is. And I have one right here. I don't even need to screw with it. $9.8. That should work. Isn't its actual size. And then this way, oh, this one's too small. That's why. This was before I set up the printer. All right. No, it'll still work. 15, 16. 9.8. This one's got to be 16. And that should be close. Needs to be a little bit more. That puts a hole in it. So it's 17, not 16. 17. And this one, I can bring in a little. 9.5, let's do. I can overlap a little bit. And that should be that, correct? And there's seams. What's this little lock here for? I've never seen that. Let's edit this because I want it to join body spacing, suppress, direction. Okay. So now I got a bunch of bodies, which I should be able to select all of this all the way down to here and just hit join. And it's all joined, except for there's still a gap here. So I didn't quite get the spacing right, did I? Edit feature. The little one, 9.25. Let's go. Okay. Let's just go with 9 because it's still gapped. Actually, it was like 8.7975, wasn't it? 8.975. Why is there still a seam there? There should be no seam there. Will they? Can I join them? Join. Does the seam go away? No. And they're not joining, so they must not be touching yet. It looks like they're touching, but I guess they're not. Edit feature. 8 point. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. That's why. Dumbass. 8.75. Good enough. This is dumbass. I keep doing that. Edit feature. I need to edit this one. 16.75. What happened? That's what happened. Okay, now it's solid. That's pretty much it. Nothing special to it. I do want to edit this so they're a little bit tighter. Because I have it a little bit loose. This needs to be exactly 12. And this needs to be Oh, what the hell? 12. And this needs to be something smaller. I think I actually edited that already. 4.5. So I'm going to do 4.6. And that way it's snug but not too tight. 4.65 even. Finish sketch. And there they are. Save. Is that enough? Have a 9? I think it is. If I have more than 9 in either position, there will be something wrong. I was thinking about doing all kinds of weird like angles and stuff, but I don't even want to bother. I do think I want to make them spaced a little wider so I can actually grab them easier. Let's do that. Let's make this negative 2.4. Let's make it negative 5. That'll make it quite a bit bigger. And then I can inspect this and go, that is how long? Like 22. 22 and 14.65. I should write these down so when I go to edit it, I can remember. 22 and what's this one? 14. Writing right on my desk. 14.65. And then I can do the spacing better when I go to do this thing here. Edit feature. 22. So yeah, 22 should work. And this one is 14.65. What happened? Something I did wrong. Edit feature distance. That's what I didn't do. 14.65. And they're all seamed up. They got a little more space, so it's easier to get my big fat thumbs on. Yep, I was thinking that. I was actually going to chamfer it, but fill it, either one. I think I'm going to make the base a little, like, angled here. Just because I think it looks cooler. And it just looks cooler. And actually, there's a thing for that. Where is it? Draft. I've never used this. Let's play with draft. Face. Select a face. Okay, I selected a face. Now what? Directions. Select a face. Whoa. Okay. That's freaking bizarre. Check that out. I've never used this. So, I'm going to change the direction. It's basically doing it on this. So, get rid of that. Pull direction. I guess that way. And then select this face. Yeah. And you rotate it and it makes it wider. That's cool. Two-sided. Not doing anything. So I guess two-sided doesn't do anything. Symmetrical. That's not what I want. One-sided. Just do like 15 degrees. So it pans it out. That's kind of neat. I've never ever used that before. Never ever. What is up, Mr. Red Light from the Crane? You know, that just seems like more of a pain in the butt than just drawing a frickin' angle and piping it around. Because if I go like this, and this, and this, and this, I give it a little round of like just 3 for that size. And then I take this, actually no, I want to take origin, add a new sketch at the origin, which is this one will work. And I want to just draw from here down to here, like about that much, then draw it into there, and then just connect the two so it fills in. Escape, take that, go to solid, don't want to revolve, I want to sweep, and I want to sweep it on this path, and I want it to join instead of cut, and boom, done. And I like that much better, and it looks easier. And that looks pretty cool, don't it? I am using Fusion 360 there, Mr. Red Light. And then I can take this and go here. It won't let me do the whole thing. Actually, cancel. I can do this whole thing. Just do like 0.5. 0.3 is good. And 0.5. Now I'll do the whole top. Everything. All of it. All at once. Filleted. Done deal. Now, last thing I got to do is something I always got to do. Put my damn logo on it. Insert SVG. And insert from computer. And documents. And Llama logos. And somewhere in here I have a basement SVG. That's Chris's. Llama 2019 SVG. That's not actually the one I want, is it? Actually, I think that one will work. Okay, where is it? It's really, really big. Let's make it really, really small. Really, really small. Not that big. And let's move it somewhat. So actually, let's put it to one side. I think it'll look cool on one side. What do you think? We can make it a little bigger. Too big. Okay, what happened? I don't really like the way Fusion scales things. Wish it would do it from the center of the item instead of from the pole. Okay then. Take that. Go solid. Push it in 0.5. Actually, negative 0.5. Negative 0.5. And we now have my logo built in. Cool. And I don't hate it, even though it's not really lined up with anything. That's the other thing I don't really like. Now that I have it, I have to freaking unlock it, and it all separates. I can't move it as one. There's no grouping function. Come on, I don't want points, I want lines. And unlock. And then I get to escape. Select them all again. Come on, I don't want a point, I want a line. So I can double click and select you all. And modify move. And I want to kind of line it up with that slot somewhat. That looks better. Finish sketch. And there we go. There's my logo. Beat into it. Pretty cool. I think I actually want to make this a little bit taller too. I'm just going to add a millimeter to it. So it's got a little flippy, but it's holding it up off. Because if I remember correctly, somebody in chat frickin' get rid of that Jolly Chlorine FYI post guy. Delete his ass. Actually, I think I got the chat here. Report on commercial spam or whatever. I don't know even look. I just don't want anyone doing that. Goodbye, whoever you were. You have been eliminated. And I don't hate that. Pretty basic, pretty simple. The bottom's open. Dust isn't going to collect in there. I'll pick it up. Any of the dust that falls in these slots just stays on the desk. And we're done. Save. And export. Save as mesh. And save as 3MF. Desktop. And item number 1 done. Now, I have to go print it, which means I got to load filament. We all teamed up and kicked his or her butt. I love the EMOS tool. It comes in handy. Whatever the... Oh, embeds. Boss. You missed an S. I don't know how much longer I'm going to stand, but I do have to go fire up the printer because it's in the other room and load that filament in it. There's no filament hooked up to it when I move it over there, but I need to load the filament I just brought out unbagged. I need a Be Right Back frickin' thing. Do I have one? Brand. Nope. I have a streaming in 5. You know what I can do? Make one right now. File. New. 720 by 1280. Create. Place. Actually, let's put a weird background in first. And center it. Centered. And let's do a graduate spiral radial. Color 1 will be like a light blue. Now let's do my classic red. I need to get the teardropper thingy here. Right here. Come up to here, because I got a Mac, it'll pull it right off the thing. And here, then here, and then, oops, I actually have to assign that, don't I? Yep. That's too much red. Let's go over to this one. Make it that color red. Let's go over to this one. Eyedropper to the blue. Tell it to assign it. More red than blue. That is butt freaking ugly. Add some text. I want that thing. Be right back. Let's make it at a weird angle. Let's drag it out all fat. I can't even see what you guys are talking about. Are you guys laughing at me doing this? Stroke. Let's give it a stroke. Let's do it that way. Let's go back to color and color that stroke. Let's make it a light blue. How about orange, red? How about a green? Oh, that's really gross. Let's do that. That's a nice, gross, vivid green. That's almost like alien green. And then let's do a complete black background. Fill, color, black, layer, arrange, move to back, and there we go. Should I place my little logo in there too? Sure, why not? Oops, I'm back at the Finder. File, place. Documents. Lava logos. Large lava logo PNG. Open. Move to front. I don't know why it doesn't. Why it doesn't. I like to dim it. I don't know why. It just gives it a kind of cool look. Down here, right there, that looks cool. Export is a PNG file. Export. PNG, export. Be right back. BRB. And actually, I might as well put it down here in my Llama logo stuff. Be right back screen. Save. Quit. Nope, don't save that. It's trying to save it as a file format. Overlays. Add an overlay. Not an overlay. Video clip. Background. Add a background. Documents. Llama logos. Be right back screen. That one. Come on, baby, uploading. And then remove. That worked. So if I remove myself, I wouldn't call that an artistic choice. I would call that obnoxious. It's very obnoxious. It's obnoxious colors. It's obnoxious layout. It's obnoxious. It's offensive to my eyeballs, and I love it because of it. How is Tanner not um, a mod on here? Add mod. Tanner is now a mod. I could swear you were a mod. Did you use a different account before? Pretty much everyone in here is a mod. All right. Back to the comments so I can see if there's anyone on Twitch. Which one am I getting what? Oh, Tanner. And a free Affinity Designer tutorial, I guess. Yeah, I've been using Affinity Designer since almost when they came out. Let's see, the last version of Adobe I got, I think, was CS2 or CS3. And I balked at that when I got it. And that's when they started doing the mortgageware. And I said, screw that. Affinity was coming out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not using Photoshop or Illustrator to the point of professionalism, every day. I'm doing stupid crap like that with it real quick. I'm like, for $35 or $40, I think I paid each for them. I got Designer and what the hell is it? Photo. Adobe or Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, way back. They were just basic, but they were really highly rated, especially on the Mac. They didn't do PC for like a year or two after I had gotten it. They literally were, when I bought it, they said they were working on releasing the Wintel versions, but they were a Mac only program for the first couple of years. But they have just massively improved the application since then. Like, it used to be kind of a rinky dink little, simple, basically what I just did with it. It's all I ever used it for, anyways. But oh my god, it's like so much more powerful now than it's right up there. Both of them are right up there with anything in an Adobe, and they're $50. And actually, I think they're back to their COVID sale. I'm not sure, but anyway, I am going to fire up a printer and load filament. All right. Filament is loaded. Well, sort of loaded. It's up to the hot end. We now have to heat it up, which I'm actually, even though I'm going to be opening up another app for it, I am going to use this because it's all preset and I don't have to enter passwords. And I can heat this up to 50, and I can heat this up to 215 because it's cold, so it's winter. And get those preheating while I open Idea Maker and slice the thing. Import model. See how easy that is to find? USB 3MF. And there it is. Why? That's unusual. One non-manifold edge. Where is there a non-manifold edge? Well, let's just repair it. Done. Fixed. That's weird. Fusion almost never exports files that with errors. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm not going to put any bottom layers. Maybe I should. I was thinking about leaving this so it was all the pattern. So again, any dust or anything wouldn't, but that'll let dust up into the body of this thing. So I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to leave it. Start slicing. Basic PLA. Infill only needs to be like 15%. It's fine. Layers 2.2. Let's go a little finer. Print shells in optimum order. First layer flow rate. Bring down to 0. Don't need to because I'm not doing that little thing anymore. Solid infill. Bottom layers really only need 2. Top 4. Let's go up to 5 so it's nice clean. How many shells did I put on? Extruder width 0.6. Retraction speed. Retraction distance. All that's good. I haven't played with any of that. Maximum shell overfill. Let's do a couple extra shells. Let's make it 3. That's good with the 0.6 nozzle. Cooling. See, this is what I like about the cooling. I can completely control the cooling on this. I can do external cooling. I can turn the fans off. I can give you a minimum. I can do all the stuff that Cura and Prusa Slicer do, and so much more with this window. It'll blip the fan. So if you have a weak fan, which this one's not, but the old one used to be, if you didn't go to 100%, it wouldn't do like 50. It needed at least like 75, 80% to start it up. Once it was starting, it would stay spinning, but 50 to 10 speed. I got it kind of slow, but that's okay because that's a crappy freaking printer. And I don't really want it any faster. I start G code. Y190. I'm going to bring this down to 50. I want it to move forward, but for some reason it's button heads lately. And slice. It says it'll approximately take an hour and a half, which isn't terrible. It is slow. But that's because I got the printer running slow. And that's the infill. Should I do a goofy infill? Let's see if it changes it speed-wise. Well, we have an hour and a half, basically. Infill. Let's try gyroid. Slice. Yeah, lengthen it or shorten the print time. It took a minute off. But it's got the cool gyroid infill that you'll never ever see anyways. And edit. What other infill do we have? I haven't really played with infills much. I either do the grid rectangular or gyroid. Concentric, I don't do infill. I do it with the Supports, concentric supports on Idea Maker are fantastic. It leaves you the best supports you'll ever do. Lines. What's really the difference between grid and rectal? I keep calling it rectal. Rectangular. I think it's the same, isn't it? Yeah, same amount of time. That looks pretty much the same. I don't need a brim, which I really don't want. I had the brim because I was doing little tiny pieces. Platform adhesion, brim, skirt. Okay, slice. 1 hour, 31 minutes. Good enough. Who cares? I can almost go lower infill, but whatever. Export to disk. Okay. Yes, replace that. Done. Go away. This is one of the things I don't like about this, and some people like it. I just don't need it to save crap. Somebody already hit him. And let's go back to Safari and upload from the desktop USB G-code. Upload. And yes, I'm using Repetier because it's faster and it does things better than Octoprint does. Sorry, but it does. There's a couple things I still prefer about Octoprint, but no, I like this better. I've used both. This actually is Repetier. Repetier server loads faster than Octoprint, just in general on the Pi. Not a lot, but it's noticeable. It connects to the printer faster. It prints faster. It stutters less. What it doesn't have is plugins, but it doesn't really need them. And the thing I found with Octoprint, every time I use Octoprint and I get plugins, which I like the plugins for Octoprint, the problem is every time I use the plugins, I get all kinds of errors or stutters, or it always seems to break it. And it like stutters. Octoprint always seems to, like, if you watch the printer, I almost wish I had the printer in here. When you watch Octoprint print, it seems to a lot of times like stutter. I don't know what else. It'll pause at certain places, like this video screen's doing, but that's just because the video screen's catching up. Video screen is faster than the actual print is, so it's stuttering. But in real life, it's not stuttering. StreamYards. Branding. Let's bring back the normal Llama desktop in the background. But they have pretty much all the same features. I just found Repetier just seems to work a little cleaner. Just a little. And there's nothing wrong with Octoprint. To be honest, I keep using it now and again, and I still, to this day, ever since I got my very first, I haven't this year, thinking of that, I got my very first printer. I had that stupid M3D micro little square box. That's the very first printer I ever bought. That never worked right. Could never get it to connect to the computer right. And the one thing that saved it was Octoprint. I actually loaded Octoprint. There was a S3D micro, M3D micro version of Octoprint this dude had built that hooked your Mac or your PC to the M3D micro, so you didn't have to use SD cards, and it just made it actually work. It took me like 2 months to get that stupid printer actually working, and it was through Octoprint. But anyways, I still give Gina $5 every year for Christmas, and I haven't this year. I got to, even though I haven't used it in a couple 3 years for any extent. I keep putting it back on the Llama Core just to try it when she does an update that's major, but it just seems to it just bogs down more than it helps. Everything just prints slower. And I got to go in the other room and just check on it, make sure it's printing. I believe it is. It should be. Yeah. It's going to have kind of a weird pink base because I forgot to purge it. I stuck the new filament in there and just jammed it in while it was cold because the Omnia Drop has the feed. So I fed it in until it wouldn't feed anymore. Figuring, it's up against the nozzle. I do a prime line in my slicer, and I do the skirt. So I knew, even if it wasn't fully, it's going to fill the nozzle, and by the time the actual print starts printing, it would start printing. But I forgot to purge it. I mean, it purged it along the line, but that isn't enough. And there's still a little bit of the red that was in there. So like the very first shell line on the actual print has got a red tint to it. Who cares? I don't care. So the next thing I got to design, and I'm really not in the mood to do it. So I'm about ready to bail because it's almost 11. And to be honest, I got to go to the bathroom and get something to drink. Although I got tea still here, even though it's cold. I actually have a soda here too. There's actually 13 people watching this right now. I didn't think I'd get 5 on a Monday, even with it being after Christmas. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, everyone liked the smash button and all that. Or go to Twitch. I would like to get the Twitch affiliation. Though I guess once I get affiliated on Twitch, they won't let me dual stream. They get all mad about that. I don't think it's Octoprint in the sense that Octoprint has an issue. I think it's the connection of Octoprint to Marlin when you're using the Pi. Oh, curmudgeon. I don't think it's an actual Octoprint issue, if that makes sense. Repetier server takes over the printer more, from what I understand. I'm not any kind of super geek, so someone that would know more can tell you more, but it just seems to connect. It just runs faster. Repetier just runs faster on the actual Pi. It just starts up faster. It connects to my Wi-Fi faster. It just does everything faster. It's literally the exact same piece of hardware. I've literally taken the SD card out because you can write one Repetier and you can write one Octoprint and just plug it into the freaking side of the Pi and plug it in, leave it plugged in the computer and fire it up, and it'll run off of either platform. And Repetier just connects faster, it runs smoother. I have less problems with it. It just seems to be nicer. It connects faster in all ways. It connects to the printer faster. It connects to my Wi-Fi faster. It uploads faster. And I don't know why. I mean, the Pi is the Pi. Most of that stuff should be restricted by the hardware, not the OS on the Pi. But I don't know. It's not a lot. I mean, it's not a lot. Either one's fine. If Repetier wasn't here or I lost it tomorrow, I wouldn't cry. I would just use Octoprint. I don't have a problem with Octoprint. What's up, Big Jano? There's some twitchy people on Twitch. I need more people over to Twitch. Everyone go over to Twitch and join so I can get my, I don't know, what do you need, 50 or 100 followers or whatever? Yeah, I know. Which is why I do both. I don't know. Some people are Twitch is starting to pick up a little. The Twitch layout is just, oh God, here's a freaking idiot again. What is it with this VOT FYI? Unwanted spam report. Okay, goodbye. check my Twitter. I can do that. Do I have Twitter on this? Wait, set up. I do. Send a photo. Oh, you got Mermaid's Tail, you bastard. They don't make it anymore, I don't think, or they were talking about canceling it. Oh, dude, that is all. I will. Thank you. I will take that. I love that color. That's what this is. This one's Mermaid's Tail. The Paramount 3D is almost exactly the same color as the Mermaid's Tail. The Mermaid's Tail has that bit of glitter in it, which I'm not normally a glitter fan, but I do like that color. It just looks wicked. Sweetness. I'd appreciate that. Because it's extremely loud red light. I converted it to 24 volt with the help of Shane, Danger Otterdead Shane. He sent me the bed and the power supply. That's all I needed. Omnia Drop, when he sent me the last Omnia Drop, there were some issues. He sent me some replacement parts for the hot end. It wasn't his fault. It was my fault. I broke the wire. I cut it too short. Anyway, he sent me a new hot end or heat block and fans. And he sent me 24 volt. And that was originally 12 volt. So I had all that stuff. So all I needed was a bed and a power supply, and I converted that to 24 volt. The problem is the power supply that Shane sent me has the loudest jet engine fan ever. It's a cheap ANET 24 volt power supply. It's a piece of junk, but it works. It's big enough. It's a 360 watt, which is big enough to run that stupid printer without an issue. And the bed heats up way faster than the 12 volt. That was the biggest problem, and the reason I wanted to go 24. 12 is fine. This is all 12. But the bed wouldn't heat up. It was the original ANET bed at 12 volt, and anything over like 45, 50 degrees, it would trip thermal runaway because it just wouldn't get any hotter. Like if I set it for 50, if I wanted to do 70 degrees and do PETG or something, 65, 70 degrees on the bed, I would literally have to bring it up to about 45 and then let it sit there for a minute and then go 46 and like type it in manually. So it just had to go up that 1 degree and that 1 degree. Because otherwise, Marlin's thermal runaway has a minimum time setting, and I set it to actual maximum. I think I set it for, 3 minutes per degree. I think that's the maximum you can set it at, and it would trip it. It wouldn't heat it up. It wouldn't do it. So at 24 volt, I've had that thing. When Shane first sent it to me, I wired it in, and I got it to 100 degrees in like a couple 3 minutes. Which that's the other thing, that the 12 volt bed just took freaking forever even to get to 40. It took like 15 minutes to get to 40 degrees. And even then, just going to 40 degrees, sometimes it would just trip thermal runaway because it was taking too long to heat up. And then it burned up. The plug burned up. It is now actually the sled. If you look back at some of my old photos and posts like a year ago when he first sent me that, when did he send me that? This summer? September. I think he sent it to me in September. Anyway, I took the old ANET bed that the plug burned up, and it was built right into it, and I tried to fix it, and of course I'm terrible at soldering, and I screwed it up. But anyway, he sent me the new bed, but the old sled that comes on the ANETs is that cheap. I actually just threw it out the other day. It's like cheap steel. It's not even aluminum or any thickness. It's almost like tinfoil-y steel. And you can bend it. Like if you push your finger down on the bed, the actual lower carriage bends before the spring collapses. So I took the old bed and cut it with a jigsaw and sanded it a little bit. The screw holes line up. It's all the same. Put a couple of drill holes in it so I can mount the wheels on it, and made the old bed, the bed sled, the carriage for the Y. So if you look at underneath it, I'll have to show you a picture sometime. Maybe I'll repost it sometime. But it's actually, you can see all the traces. I sanded it so you can see all the copper traces. I flipped it up so the copper traces are up. And so if you like look under my bed at the actual carriage sled, you can see all the traces. And I cut it like in the necks and everything, like all of them are, just to lighten it up a little. Yeah, I did it this morning because I knew I was doing this, and I can't stream while it's running in here because the noise cancellation on the mic and StreamYards and or Discord with that running cuts my voice in and out because it just sees everything as noise because that fan noise overrides so loud. I can run this one and stream and it won't matter. But the fan on that thing is so loud, it screws up all the noise cancellations on the stream. Anybody want to jump in? Hang out? Yeah, Twitch is confusing. Very much so. It's not, I don't know. I'm kind of getting used to it. It's not even so much confused. It's just busy. It's like overly busy. There's too much stuff that really has nothing to do with anything we do. That's the biggest thing. Like, you open the Twitch window, and this is one of the things. I gotta actually share the screen. Share. Like, this whole thing up here has always got the prime loot has always got like numbers, and it almost never goes away. I literally had to go through it this morning and like scroll through all this crap, and it's all games. I don't care about any of these games. I don't play any of these games. I have zero interest in this. You have to scroll through it to make the little thing go away. The chat doesn't back scroll like it does on YouTube. So like if somebody jumps in, they can't see past chat, or on YouTube, you can scroll back almost forever. I think it does like an hour. So even if you jump in after the fact, you can back scroll chat in YouTube. You can't in Twitch. Chat starts right when you show up in Twitch, which is yeah, it's minor. The whole moderator thing on Twitch, I don't like as well. Like, there's no way, like on YouTube, if I want to make someone a mod or unmod them, you just click on the little three dots and you do whatever. Or if you want to report them. On Twitch, there's no just report. There's no way to do it like on it. You got to go up here, users in chat, find whoever you want, which isn't terrible. 3D Medic Vince, I want to make him a mod, and nothing like, okay, now I see that's a mod, but that doesn't make a whole, that saying he's a mod, that icon does not say he's a mod to me. That would not be my first impression with that. I do like how they separate it here. That's kind of nice. Commander Root, Farm Girl, Graph Moo. These are all people just watching. Reynolds 9761. I don't even know who these people are. But that's cool. Thanks for watching, whoever you are. As long as you don't do spammy crap. Infinity Screen. Hey, John. What's up? Yes, Infinity Screen. Yeah. We can get rid of that and go back to the StreamYards and remove that. And you can come back to my ugly ass instead. You were better off with the Infinity Stream, weren't you, John? Yeah, you should have kept your mouth shut. Now you got to look at this ugly mug. Anyway, I mean, they both work. It's like it. It's just like the slicers. And I will be on Prusa Slicer forever and ever and ever until they do the very basics. And I'm going to show you guys because this pisses me off and it's stupid. It is stupid and it shouldn't piss me off, but it does for the simple fact, okay, that's that way, that if you want to use the wizard, which I don't even know how, print settings, printer, here we go. Where do I add remove printer? Add physical printer. Okay. Cancel. How do I there's a way to do it, and I know there is. Anyways, if you use the wizard to add a printer, which, add remove printer. There we go. Use your custom printer, give it a name, blah. This printer is blah. Next, this is all good. Rip wrap spinner, which I don't get why they leave it at that when pretty much everything they do is Marlin. Marlin 2. I didn't know they had that. That's new. Okay, you have your 2D printer here. There is no height. This is a wizard to set up a 3D printer. 3D, not 2D. There is no Z adjustment here in the wizard. Can you do it later? Yes. It's a freaking wizard to set up a 3D printed printer. And it's missing the third dimension in the wizard to set up a 3D printer. Anyone getting a problem here? There's no Z. There is no Z. You can add a texture, like they all can do that now, where if you do the texture, you can have like a ghost image of your actual printer in the background. Same with the models and all that. There is no third dimension in the wizard. Nozzle, filament diameters, temperatures, you can preload filaments. No third dimension. And it just crashed and quit. But there is no third dimension. Oh, do I not have? Oh, I didn't frickin' show it, did I? Did all that and didn't even show the screen. Let's do that again. Because it crashed anyways. That's the other thing it does. It seems to do a lot. File. Edit. Print settings. Now you can see it, right? Add remove printer. Other custom printer. Define a custom printer. See, this is all normal. I get all this. I mean, it's for Prusa for their own printers. Yay. Next. This should be default as Marlin, but whatever. That doesn't really matter either. I don't have a problem with that, but there is no third dimension. None. You can do textures and models and all this fancy stuff. You can make your printer as a ghost on the slicer so you can see the frame structure of your printer through the texture and modeling. No third dimension. X, Y, no Z. I guess I'm 3D printing on a 2D printer. All the other settings you need. And again, it's stupid because I can hit finish and it quit. It crashed. That's the brand new one that just came out. And it's crashing. Yeah, Z defined elsewhere. It's a wizard for a 3D printer. And the wizard isn't giving you a Z height. There is no Z height in the wizard. You literally have to finish the wizard, then go back into your printer settings and set your Z height. There isn't any Z height in the wizard ever. None. Idea Maker, Cura, Simplified 3D. Put a new printer, current printer, configuration wizard. Look at this. Look, I want to select a default printer. Sure, okay. Finish. It gives you all the information. It's trying to, that didn't actually give me a new printer. I haven't added a new printer in years on this. Configuration wizard. I don't want that one. I want a new one. Oh, others. Here we go. Third-party printer. Select the printer. Add a new printer. Somewhere down here. I haven't done this in a while. Where's other? I don't want to erase 3D. I don't want an alpha-wise. There was never any of these presets before. Ultimaker. Where's create your own printer? Alpha-wise, ANET. That's weird. There used to be a start your own printer. Other? Where is it? Profile generator. Oh, they want you to do the profile generator now. That's kind of obnoxious. But even still, when you custom. This isn't great. I'm not liking this either, but you have Z. Look, Z. 300, 300, 350, 325, so it's safe. One extruder, nozzle, 0.6. Direct drive. Next. I mean, their wizards way more sense. Marlin, start and stop G-code, don't care. Next. Well, let me go next. Maximum bed temperature. I wanted this is new. I've never used this. It wants me to enter G-codes and everything. That's kind of weird. I wonder if it does that if you start brandy spanking new. I don't think it does. Anyway, none of them are perfect. Not having a Z in a wizard for a 3D printer, not having the third dimension in a 3D printer setup wizard is kind of lame. And I get it. I mean, it's not a big deal. You can set it up later at any point in time. Sure, great. And most newbies, what's up, Andrew? Most newbies, they're pre-made profiles for all of them now. You saw it. Everybody's got all the ANETs and the Crealities and the, the millions of just general, very popular printers that everyone's going to buy. You just click on it and it would load it. And it would load your Z if you do a pre-made profile. But if you build custom printers, like I do, there's no Z height adjustment in the wizard. It's little, it's stupid, but it's really not, because it's the freaking main part of a 3D printer. There's no Z setting on a Z 3D printer. No height. I don't know. It just seems like such a small thing to overlook, and yet it's such a big thing to overlook. I mean, it's like, oh, your car doesn't. We can put the tires on after. You go to a dealership and there's no tires on any of the cars. So, well, we put those on. We just put them on after. Why? Why would I use a profile if I'm using the wizard? If I'm using the wizard, I don't have a profile. The wizard is to set up, enter the base information from the beginning. I prefer clerics over wizards. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Elven clerics. Ooh, people going in and out. I thought she was working today. My neighbor just drove out. I don't know. It's a little thing. it needs to be addressed. Is it stupid and little? Yes. Is it major? It's also very major because it is the whole basis of a 3D printer and a 3D printing slicer. And if you're going to make a 3D printer slicer for slicing for 3D printers, you really need to have the third dimension. Needs to be there. And they fix sort of fix the support raft thing that Prusa Slicer forces you to use, which, I mean, it's still a raft, but at least it's a solid raft that'll actually hold to the bed instead of that stupid little squiggly line that snapped off after like the 10th layer, no matter what you did. I don't know how anyone used that and did any kind of supports. So those two things were like my major pissings and moanings about Prusa Slicer. There's some other stuff I don't like about it. I really don't like the fan controls. I much prefer the fan controls on an Idea Maker. I kind of like the multi-layer height automatic thingy in Prusa Slicer. I'm just going to stay on if I actually fire it up. See, now these things don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like, what does that even mean? Paste? Well, I guess that's the clipboard and the... I don't know. I'd rather have words. I mean, they're not difficult. Don't get me wrong. I'm not... That's a minor thing. But I would rather have words. Okay, how do I... There we go. This isn't bad. What I was just doing is it's just using a different key stroke to do the rotate that I'm used to. Most applications all use the same one, and Prusa Slicer uses a different one, but it's fine. That's just a thing. This thing here, variable layer height. They all do it. Kira did it a long time ago. Idea Maker did it a long time ago. Prusa Slicer's been doing it for quite a while now, too. Prusa Slicer does it kind of automatically. And you have some, desired settings that you can put in, and it will adjust it for you. And insert pause thing, don't care about that. It kind of thinks it out for you and does it for you according to your parameters, which I kind of like, even though it doesn't do it on this because it's got no need to. Idea Maker has way more control because you manually type everything in. But because it's got way more control, it's a way more complicated. And in most cases, I don't think it needs to be. I use the variable layer height a lot in Idea Maker, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. And I'm not showing the screen again. I did all that and I wasn't showing the screen. But anyways, Prusa Slicer has this variable control thing, print settings. See, I don't like this though. How do I go back to the... There we go. You have this variable. See, these are, I don't know, a range. I mean, they kind of make sense what they are, but like these two, split object, this icon does not say split objects to me. That does not say split parts to me. That icon just doesn't say that to me. Undo. These make basic sense. Search. Okay. I would figure that was a zoom function. Paint on supports. And again, the words pop up and you can get used to them. It's not a terrible thing, but I much prefer this. They're all right here. They make more sense. They're a cleaner layout, I think, than having it on both. I mean, everything's right here. I don't know. I just think it's a cleaner layout. Makes more sense. They both work, though. Prusa Slicer is definitely improved. And I will be using it again. over time. What is up, Mr. Travis? Yep, 5% infill. You can do that. I think all three of them now have a automatically increasing infill. Idea Maker has adaptive infill. They've had that for years, where you can start out with a very small infill, and as it builds up and gets close to whatever it needs to hold up your top layer, it will increase the infill a little bit so your top layer is nicer and you don't need as many top layers because it's better supported. And it will slowly increase the infill. Cura just started doing it with lightning infill. That just started in Cura. It's actually been in Cura with a plugin for years too. I think it was actually in Cura before Idea Maker even had it with a plugin. I think Prusa Slicer sort of has it somewhere. I don't know, does it? I played with it when it first came out. To be honest, it didn't save all that much for most of my prints. If I were doing a massive, like when these guys are doing these helmets and stuff, that would make sense. I will say that Prusa Slicer now imports the 3MF or whatever the hell this thing was. 3MF, the new 3MF file, which I find way better, way more accurate, way faster, way smaller than an STL. It's just a better file format, but it imports it proper now. The last one, it would always end up over here. Does it have a print settings up here? Infill. Does it have any kind of random reducing print time? Combine infill only infill where needed. Okay, that's a similar idea. That's actually, I kind of like that. I've never used it. Fill angle, bridging angle, only retractions, but there isn't a lightning or adaptive infill that I see here. But I do like that only use the infill where you need it thing. That's kind of neat. Yep. Yeah, I need more coffee. Actually, it's almost lunchtime. So I'm going to bail because it's 11:30 and I've been doing this for almost 2 hours. Coffee does sound like a good idea. Oh, my stomach's kind of screwed up, which is why I went to tea. I actually have tea, but coffee does sound good. Yeah, so it's printing. It's probably going to take a little while. How far along is it? Pumpkin King. It is 41% done. It's going to take another 45 minutes to finish. Again, I got it printing rather slow because that thing's kind of a slug of a printer. It's actually printing really well for an old ANET. That was an absolute piece of garbage when I got it, but I've replaced 90% of it. Although some of them are ANET stuff. Yeah, Warkaki did some really good work on Idea Maker and Prusa Slicer profiles. They are really nice. I kind of do my own because I'm more concerned with structure than pretty. I really never even tune my slicers. I get them so they print decent and just leave them. I got to stop that. I actually need to make a pretty profile. Matter of fact, maybe I will. Maybe I'll go get Warkaki's pretty profile. Because I can modify it. That's the other thing I like about Idea Maker. You can take a slicing profile from pretty much any printer and port it to your printer because Idea Maker manages filament. The printer in Idea Maker is X, Y, Z, nozzle, direct drive. That's it. IdeaMaker really doesn't much care about the printer. All it wants to know is your basic parameter sizes. Everyone's like, oh, you need to know how fast or slow. No, your firmware should know how fast or slow. You can set all that in IdeaMaker. It will override it if you want it to, but it leaves your printer firmware, which should know all your settings from the beginning. That's really where your accelerations and all that should be set. And it just doesn't touch them unless you want to touch them. Prusa Slicer, that's the other thing I got to do in Prusa Slicer, thinking about that with the new one, is you have to turn it off. I should do it right now. Prusa Slicer, because I think I have them on. And is it in print settings? Advanced output filament settings. Actually, it should be in the printer settings, isn't it? Machine limits. See, it's got all this crap on already, and this should not. Yeah, see, I already turned it off. It's on ignore, but normally it's not on ignore. It uses the limits, and that shouldn't be unless you're using a Prusa printer, and it shouldn't be. Period. You should only use that as a last resort. But it was already on ignore. Yeah, Prusa Slicer. If you're using, like Slice, not Slice, yeah, the multicolor unit there from Canada. The hell is it? Or Prusa's multi-material unit, the two MMUs, Prusa Slicer MMU or report unwanted spam. Why do these people keep doing that? It's like, do they not know that it's just going to get blocked instantaneously? Palette, yes, the palette. You're better off probably with a Prusa Slicer. If you're doing IDEX, IdeaMaker, just two-head IDEX, IdeaMaker is probably going to be the better slice because IdeaMaker, Raise 3D, has IDEX printers, and they're actually one of the best IDEX printers you can buy. They're just really, really expensive. But their slicer is set up for IDEX. If you have a belt printer, I'd probably go with Cura, but IdeaMaker does now have the belt printer. Prusa Slicer doesn't. Big whoop. I mean, if you got a belt printer, you're probably just going to use Cura. I know everyone tried IdeaMaker when they first released it, a year ago, a little over a year ago. They released the belt printer part of their slicer, but it seems like everyone faded right back to Cura from what I've seen. So there's got to be some issues with it. I don't have a belt printer, so I don't know. Is an 8mm block enough to hold an 8mm linear rail if the rod won't be stressed? No, because it won't hold it because the rod will come all the way out to the outer edge of the block. Does that make sense? I mean, if you're putting it through it, if your block is this, if you're building a block this way and you're going to put the rod through it, it's got to be more than 8mm because otherwise at each point of the circle, it's going to pop through it. Unless you're just going to set it on top of it or set it this way, then sure. Oh, you're talking about how much it sticks in it? Oh, hell yeah. Especially if it's not stressed. I usually do like 5. And it's just sitting on it. Bots never learn. I do like Prusa printers now. I think you should all go to Prusa printers and like my freaking site and like all my models. And I want some Prusa mint. I really, really, really want some Prusa mint. Yeah, I kind of figured that. I wasn't sure what you were asking, but whatever. Some people are brain dead. I was brain dead last night with that printer, putting a new thing in there, board in there. I don't know how I had it right the first time and not the second. It just doesn't make any sense, but whatever. When I put because I broke if you guys don't know, I broke the MKS board that I just put in that printer that's running in the other room. Dumb move. Pop the SD card socket off of it. Sucks. Gonna get it fixed. Not an issue, but can't use it. I have SKR boards, so I popped the SKR board in there. I was really happy. Did the whole firmware, everything worked. Started to go printing, didn't think about it. Set my my movements to automatically to 80, 79.95 or whatever it's supposed to be. Everyone just sets it to 80. It's closer than your nozzle is ever going to know. And this thing was like shooting off the freaking bed. And I'm like, well, I didn't change micro stepping. I did nothing. I forgot like a year ago, I changed the upper X pulley to a 16-tooth LDO from the original stock A-net piece of crap. Because the A-net one you could see was off center. It was wobbling the belt back and forth. I switched it to 16 tooths. Well, the 16 tooths moves farther per step. So I had to change it from 80 to 100, which I forgot I did. And I was going over and going, no, they're all just 20-tooth pulleys. That's all I ever use. Well, I used 16s because that's all I could get in LDO. I got it from Printed Solid. And he was out of stock in the 20s. So I was like, I'll just get a couple of 16s. I'll get a 16 pulley and a 16 idler, and everything will be fine. It won't matter. Everything's the same. With that printer, I can line it up so I'm not twisting the belt out of alignment by changing it, because I can just shift the motor and the pulley over a little bit. And fine. So I loaded up in there, and this thing was just shooting off the bed. I'm like, it's not, everything is 22. That's all I ever use. And last night I was on Discord, and Zach said, just go measure it, just for giggles. Of course, I measured it, and it was, smaller diameter than the bed is. I'm like, it is a 16-tooth, you dumbass. I switched it, and then, I'm watching it go around, and I literally wrote on the pulley, the actual pulley, in bright red permanent marker for this very reason, LDO. So I knew it was a 16-tooth instead of a 20. Because it's an LDO pulley. And I'm looking at it going, you dumbass. It's so obvious, and yet crap happens. Anyway, I am going to go now. It has been 2 hours, 3 minutes, and 45 seconds. Oh, Andrew's coming in. Maybe I won't go.
I was just saying hello.
Anyway, I am going to go. Maybe I won't go. We'll hang out another half hour. I was just going to go because I was done babbling to myself.
How's everyone doing?
We can let you babble for a while.
I've not really been up to much. I've got the Focus back there. So I've got my Sidewinder in the Focus. And been doing some modelling, as per usual. Actually, quite a lot of modelling.
You're always modeling. You model more than I do.
Yeah, except I need to start actually releasing stuff and selling stuff. And
yeah, I keep thinking that too, but
it's like I've got an artist who I work with.
Pain in the ass.
He's a really good sculptor, and I've done a lot of work for him. But with every artist going or sculpt up, they're always very flaky. So I had done a design for him, sometime last year, and he had sculpted a figure, a bust, and he put it on it. And he goes, oh, I'll be needing another display base for it. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do the upgraded version that I said I would do. And he's like, all right, yeah, cool. And he goes, I'll need it for, November, December. And I was like, yeah, fine. So got it all printed, changed everything about it, put it all together, looks really nice. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm not needing it yet. I was like, but you need to pay me. I've done it. You need to pay. No. So I've still got that sitting. And I've been kind of took some time off of printing. Well, I probably shouldn't have done, because I was doing loads of models, but not actually printing them. And I fried 2 boards. I don't know how well. Actually, I didn't fry them. I uploaded firmware to them what locked the boards for some strange reason. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just order some more. Yeah, let's just say the UK is not the best to try and get new boards. Like, I'm looking at £40, so about $55 for an MKS Gen 1. So a Gen L1, not even the S Gen L, just a Gen 1. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I could pick those up for 13 quid, and I had loads of them kicking about. But over the past couple of months, like, I've had people contacting me going, "Oh, my board's fried on my artillery sidewinder." So I'd install the firmware on them and then send out the boards. And I was meant to get their boards back, but once again, I'm too kind and never get the boards back. So, I've kind of run out of boards. I repaired this one.
I got a bunch of boards. The problem is it costs me more to ship it to you than if you just buy it.
Yeah, I've got this one. What was the MKS 1.4? And I'll show you here. That's my solder work on it. If it will focus. Come on, Logitech. Focus.
You got to give it a minute and get your chin out of the way. See, now it's going to focus on your face again. There you go. Now pull it back. But keep it in front of your face.
No, it's not going to
focus out. Anyway.
It's a Logitech, what do you expect? Yeah, well, basically what happened is someone had shoved, and I mean properly shoved the USB right into this. It had ripped it all off, and it had bent all the pins on the inside. So I took it off, resoldered a new one on, connected it. Now it works. So I've got a 1.4.
I got to do that.
So
I tore the SD card reader off of mine. Brand new.
Yep. I've seen people do that, but it's like, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. I put it on the pumpkin. I had the case. The MKS Gen Ls are exactly the same, whether you get a Gen L, an S Gen L, an S Gen L, V2, whatever. They're all the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is I had the original 8-bit MKS in there. It doesn't have an SD card slot.
Nope.
So I built a case with no SD card slot. And then I stuck the SD card slot S Gen L V2 in there. Kind of set it there, got it all running. Everything was beautiful. Went to finally screw it to the case and hold it permanently. And when I tightened up the screws, the SD card was in there. There's no slot in the case for it, and it just snapped it right off. I was like, oh, crap. And it ran fine. I left it for like a week. But then I wanted to update the firmware because all it did was break the front two tabs off, so it bent it back.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Whatever. It still works. It's loaded. But the one thing about the S Gen L too, and why I wanted it over, the SKR boards is the secondary fan pin is programmable on that without any wizardry. You could just go in there and make it like the hot end fan and say, when your hot end gets at this temperature,
switch on.
Kick the fan on. So your regular everyday cooling fan, not your part cooling fan, but your hot end cooling fan, you can leave idle and it won't run. Well, I went to stick the SD card in there. I kind of held it and stuck it in there, and I got it to work once. But when I went to pop it out, the spring shot out because it was one of those spring returny things.
Yeah, it's got the little tiny weeny spring just in the corner with the little latch on it, so when it clicks
shooting across the room. I'm like, I'm screwed.
Funnily enough, I've repaired quite a few of those on silent boards, Ender silent boards, where people have pushed them in and they just snapped. So I've repaired a few of those. You have to have a hot air gun for that. Yeah. It's like
I bought it from TH3 to Tim. He said he fixed it. I'm like, my brother will do it.
So two working printers. Yeah, no. 2 working printers. All the printers that are being modified and fixed.
I got a few of those. People keep sending me junk.
Well, I've been, me, I like tinkering and stuff. Like, I've got an A20, the A30, I literally stripped everything off. I've been rebuilding it as my own project for many years, testing different things. I've got the A10M, I've got the HC Maker 7 that's here, what does work, but I was modifying it so it's now up on feet, and it's got the screen mounts different, and it's on LMUU 12 guide rails, because the original ones that they had on it were 8mm. And when it ran across it, the actual entire length of it would just bow because the bars were just not thick enough to take the weight.
Yeah, you realize that's how I ended up with the Pumpkin King, because Fun King, Glenn, couldn't get the bed to level. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, the thing's like 700 millimeter long, 8 millimeter freaking rod. Literally, the weight of the bed as it went across in the middle dropped the bed down. So you'd set the level at the four corners, but then you put it in the middle, and the whole bed drops, and it wouldn't stick to the bed because the thing's like a half a millimeter dropped. Literally, the weight of its own bed. So I just put some 2020 on it and some wheels, and boom, fixed. That's really the major issue that ANET had, was it was using 8 millimeter LMUs for the bed, and it's just too long to support its own weight.
Yep. So I took all of that off, and I put on the 12s. So I thought it'd be better having something that would actually support the bed, because the bed's not massively heavy, but it's heavy enough to obviously become a problem. So
and then if somebody uses it and wants to put a glass bed on it, it becomes massively heavy.
Yeah, well, that did have a glass bed. Now I've got a textured PEI for it. But I think I'm going to take that off because I've got another printer that's down under there. That's the one that I needed the new board for. I finally got a board, reprogrammed it, and all the settings are wrong because Wakoki was helping me out with it. Because I've got the 12864 Mini by Big Tree Tech with the nano LED, pixel LEDs, that's the one, screen on it. And I changed the firmware on it, and it worked for a little bit, and I noticed that everything's completely wrong. So I was like, I'll rewrite the code for it. And I haven't got around to doing that. I've been lazy. So, I mean, what I've been working on recently, this thing will pick it up. Come on.
This is how far the hodgepodge got after a year and a half. I gotta get back on that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna work on that. That, and I'm gonna convert that to a Crow XY, not a Core XY, but a Crow XY. Everyone's doing the Core XYs now, and it's not like the new thing. Right. So
yeah, so I'm sharing my screen. Why is it not coming up? Usually it comes up.
It is.
Well, I shared my screen and it's not coming up. Oh, there it is. So this is what I've been working on. I thought I would test the ability of 360. So I modeled a snake skull.
You didn't model that in 360 though.
No. This was in Mesh Mixer. I did this one in.
Just you did because that in Mesh Mixer. Wow.
Yeah, did that in Mesh Mixer. Same with the hilt. What I still need to modify. You can kind of see the two differences. The flat one that I modeled in Fusion. Yeah. So if I switch that one off, you'll actually see that's the one that I remodeled. So I exported it out of Fusion and then put it into Mesh Mixer and then actually did the modeling of it. And then the sword breaks down into pieces. Now, if anyone is a big fan of the Johnny Depp Sleepy Hollow, this was my interpretation of it because I didn't like the serpent that they had in it. I think it looks like Barney, the purple dinosaur, and I was like, nah, I'm not liking that. So that's kind of the original. So if I switch off that, you can kind of see it kind of doesn't have that look to it. So I didn't like that.
Yeah, how do you say Barney? It kind of does look like a Barney.
And I'm like, I don't like that.
I would have never thought of that until you said it.
Yeah. So it's meant to be. I don't know if people say it looks like a crocodile. People say it looks like Barney. I say it looks like Barney, and I was like, nah, I don't like that snake head. It doesn't look nice. So I'll do my own interpretation. So that's what I did, is that kind of more aggressive serpent kind of style. But yeah, it's because my mom absolutely loves like Sleepy Hollow and the Headless Horseman, and she's got a few props from the actual film. And then she started watching the series, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, I'll model something for you. So
who did a series on Sleepy Hollow?
And there was a TV series.
Yeah, who was it? A BBC one?
I'm not too sure. I only watched a couple of episodes of it, so I'm not too sure.
I'll have to look
I'm
it
trying
up.
to think.
I didn't know anyone did it.
Yeah, they did one. Yeah. So she wanted one of the books from it as well, because it's a book like with a skull and stuff on it. And I was like, yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the skull and all that. And so I modelled the skull for the front of the book. It's like a Book of the Dead or something like that, and it's got this book in it. And she wanted the skull that was on top of it. And it's meant to look like a skull with flesh coming off of it. So I modelled that, 3D printed that for her, but I'm not going to go find all of that through all my files. So yeah, that was kind of what I've been working on. Check bow, Christmas decorations. That's why I've got these sitting here. So basically, I did a whole load of like Christmas decorations that I was meant to print for Christmas. My mates love D&D, so I made custom dice rollers. So it's a box, and you open it up, and it folds down and sits straight and supports itself. At the back, you pull out the back, and it's got all your dice in the back of the drawer, and you just drop them in the top, and it rolls down and falls into the tub and gives you your roll. So I did custom ones for that. I need to reprint them though in a finer detail because the test pieces.
A classic dice tower.
Yeah, well, that's what this is, but it's a portable one because they go off to like the events and stuff.
Like a dice suitcase.
Yeah, and I mean it's not that big. I mean it's about that tall. You know, it's not that big, but it all folds out. So it folds out so that basically when they go into the tables. Because usually they would take the dice in the bags and then they would have a little dice roller like piece that they put on the table, and then they've got all of this and that they have to take out of the bags. And I said, well, I'll just design it so it's one piece, and basically it all closes up against itself. You fold down the front, and that's where the dice roll into, and then at the back you've just got a drawer that you pull out. It's got all your dice in it. And they were like, "Oh, that's brilliant. We never thought of that. We just wanted something that you could just chuck your dice in and roll it." I was like, well, no, because then you don't have to carry the bags, you don't have to carry the actual roller bits and stuff. So I did custom ones for them. I need to reprint them, but I've got those ready, and I've got the filament for that. I've got some really nice red filament that she likes, and then I've got metallic blue and purple as well, the silk purples and stuff. Because it was the first time I tried Zero PLA. Well, I was kind of a bit like, because I think before I had tried it, before they had changed to Zero, it was a different company, I'm sure. But I do have to admit, it's really quite a nice kind of metallic, sparkly purple. Can't really see it on there. So it's got sparkle flakes in it, so it's more sparkly.
Like sort of semi-transparent too, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I think what they've done is they've tried to add more sparkle to it. So the actual filament itself looks like it's semi-transparent, but then you can see the flakes through it. So I was like, yeah, I'll keep with that. Like, so it's quite nice. Yeah. And then I've been building PCs so I can get rid of all my. I've got a big as everyone saw, I've got like a massive box full of PC parts. So I've been building PCs so I can actually like get rid of them. So I've got rid of one. I've still got a like entry level gaming PC there. My in the other room, the one what we're doing up. I've got actually I'll get it. I've got it in here. I love motorbikes, but my favorite, because I used to own one and I did it up. So I bought the bike for £250. It was pretty beat up. So it was a Yamaha YZF 400 RR, so a race replica. But this thing was done back in the day where it had the two lights. What I always hated, when they changed to the RR, they did it so it was a single light on the inside, and they had made it so it looked more sportier. And when I'd done it up, I'd spent maybe another 200. So it only cost me like 450 to do it all up. And I sold it for 800, and it was the most stupidest mistake I had ever done, because I should never have sold that bike. I love that bike. But yeah, so I got one of my mates who still does bike stuff. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've just got in a panel off of an XZR 400 RR. Do you want it?" And I went, "How much?" He goes, "Oh, just give me 35 quid." I was like, "Yep, I'll have it." So I'm going to 3D print the parts to actually fit to it to make it look like it's on the side of the bike, and then put LEDs on the inside and hang it on the wall. But yeah, so I've got my full bike fairing from it. So there's meant to be your oil piece here, and you're meant to have the inner fins on the inside here. It's still got the original indicator on it. So yeah, I'm going to be doing 3D printing all the parts to go into all the different pieces, and then fit LEDs behind it and hang it back on the wall. So yeah, I missed that bike. It was the one bike I regretted selling. Well, I don't have a license anymore, so long story short, I lost my license.
I owned a really, really nice motorcycle for a whole like 48 hours. And then I drove it. Here's the deal. A dude, I used to do mortgages years ago. And I went to this guy's house to do his mortgage. And he didn't have quite enough for a down payment. So we're like, you know, he had a pretty big yard and, you know, pretty decent mortgage. He was looking at like $500,000 back in late 80s, early 90s. But anyway, he's like, oh, I don't, you know, he was only short like 10 or 15 grand or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, I'll sell a bike. And I'm like, what do you mean sell a bike? He goes, oh, I restore Harleys. I'm like, really? So we go out in this backyard. He's got this like weird shed. It was only like 8 or 9 feet wide, but it was like 75 feet long. It was this big, long tube of a shed. And he opens up the door, and he's got like, I'm guessing at least 15 or 20 Harleys, all in different modes of repair or modification. And he had like 3 of them all done. And he had whatever it was, 880, I guess it is, or everyone calls the girl's bike. But this thing was so gorgeous, dude. The paint job on it was almost bone stock, but the paint job. And he did this. Remember the old crinkle paint everyone used in the 70s on dragsters and stuff?
Crackle paint. Yeah.
Covered crackle paint.
Crackle paint.
He kind of did that on it, but then clear coated it with a candy apple red. And when he crinkled it, he did it with like newspaper, but he didn't. He drew in it. There was patterns. So it was a white base with the black pattern, but it, you know, if you stood back from it 20 feet, it would just look like this weird, like dark maroon red paint job. But as you got closer, you could see the pattern in it with the candy apple red metallic over it. It was freaking gorgeous. Best looking bike I've ever seen. He did like, you know, all the parts that a lot of the parts that would normally be chromed were all done in this pattern. It was freaking gorgeous. And I'm like, what do you want for that? And he goes, I don't know. How much more do I need? I said, you need like 10 grand. 10 grand, he said. Give me the 10 grand. I'll freaking sell you the bike. The thing was easily, even back then, was worth, you know, 20, 30 grand easy.
Yep.
I mean, it was a Harley. Even then, they were overpriced. I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, take the keys now. Write me a check. I'm like, oh, okay. I had it. You know, that was back when I actually had money. So I wrote him a check, and I freaking drove it home. He's like, come back, get your car later. Beautiful. It was like midsummer. Beautiful day. I'm like, frick yeah, I'm driving this thing home. So I drove it home. Next day, I get on it. This was a Friday. I get on it Saturday. And I'm like, I'll go to Middletown. You know, it's a town up Route 9. It's like one of the quietest highways in the state. It's like one of those not widely used highways, but it's kind of there. Anyway, you know, it's a half-hour drive. I'm like, I'm going to go for a motorcycle ride. I'm just going to go up to Middletown, turn around, come back. Nice, you know, pretty much an open highway, quiet. Like, I'll be calm and cool. It's Harley. It was actually quiet for Harley, too. He didn't have the, you know, he had actual decent mufflers on it, which I prefer. I don't need the loud. I don't need it. I mean, it wasn't dead silent, but it wasn't, like, rumbly, stupid loud. Anyway, get on the thing, start going up the highway, get to Middletown, look down. It's like, just as you hit Middletown, it gets all swirly to get into town. And then, you know, I was just going to turn around, and I look down at my speedometer, and I'm doing, like, 130 miles an hour. I'm like, you know what? I don't need this motorcycle. I'm going to die on this motorcycle. Because it's just, you know, I just get on motorcycles and I just ride. I like it too much, if that makes sense. I'm like, every time I get on a motorcycle, next thing I know, I'm either swerving into that traffic or I'm just driving way too fast. I'm like, That Monday, I called up to dude, and I'm like, don't bring the car. I think I'm going to bring you back the bike. He's like, I'm so glad you said that because I need to get way more money, and I don't want to get rid of that bike. I want to keep it. I was like,
Yeah.
cool beans, dude. And he's like, he sold some other bike. But he had like old, like, I don't know, 40s and 50s. They look like bicycles that were Harleys. They were all Harleys.
Yeah.
They literally look like a bicycle with an engine stuck in it.
Yeah, it's like the bicycle frame, the kind of
I mean, it wasn't. It's way beefier, but it basically looks like somebody took a bicycle and put a little Briggs and Stratton motor in there.
See, the most fun,
freaking gorgeous too. The guy did beautiful.
Most fun I've ever had on a bike, right? So my mate's dad, he was a big Harley fan, but he collected bikes, and let's just say some of them were scrapped, because he knew people, so he got a lot of bikes. So we went over to his, and my mate had a Honda CBR 400, nice bike, and he stripped off the seat and he just put a plank of wood, tiny bit of foam. And I'm like, why are you doing that? That's going to hurt whilst you're riding. He's like, no, I like to feel the road. And I'm like, all right, okay. So his dad comes out and chucks me keys. And I'm like, what is this for? He goes, that's for the Harley. I went, I don't want to jump on the Harley. It's too noisy. And he goes, no, just go about on it. So we took it up the back roads, came back round, drove in. And I went, nah, don't like it. He goes, I knew you wouldn't like it. He goes, right. And then he chucked me another set of keys. And he told my mate, he goes, right, you get on your CB. And he goes, you go on the Triumph Bonneville. I was like, all right, okay. He goes, now, I don't want you to slow down for corners. I was like, He goes, ride it like it's a super bike. Because he knows I used to love super bikes. So, you know, I had a ZX9R that was sitting in his garage for years. It's probably still there. And he goes, right, ride it like a super bike. I'm like, all right, okay. You know, I'd been on Yamaha YZF, you know, big bikes, and you're like, all right, yeah, this isn't going to be nothing. So we're going along, and I'm on this big kind of chopper style thing, like, nah, I'm not feeling it, until I just let rip. Now, I took this corner at 70 miles per hour, really tight corner, and I was able to lean the bike more than my super bike, and it held the road like nothing. It was absolutely amazing. And I was trying to, my mate came up on his CB, and he's coming up behind me, and he's like, oh, just give it a bit more. You know, he's revving to struggle, give it a bit more. And I'm like, all right, okay. Got it up to a ton, still taking it around these corners, flinging it about like the super bike. I'm like, oh, I need this bike. Came in, pulled it back. His dad's there, and he goes, oh, I can tell you enjoyed that with a smile on your face. I went, how much you want for it? He goes, fuck off. That was it. It was just like, nah. He goes, that's what
not happening. I'm keeping it. Anyway,
yeah.
I have to go like make lunch and stuff, so I gotta kill it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. It was just a quick catch up with everybody.
We should have jumped in earlier, man. We could have hung out.
Yeah, I had to go get actually come back on later. And fuel. Yeah. I haven't been on a lot. I mean, like, that's just mental state's not been great, and kind of not been doing a lot of 3D printing, more modeling than anything else, and keeping quiet. But I'm gonna try and make an effort.
Yeah, I guess now. I mean, I'm paying for StreamYards now, so I might as well use it. I mean, it is
with Twitch. Everybody share for him on Twitch. Let's get him up to 50 so he can get affiliate.
Yeah,
get some money.
Yeah, not that it's really any money, but it would be nice to get that monthly bill for StreamYards back. I mean, if nothing else.
That's it. If it starts,
I'm not looking to get rich on it. I'd just like to be able to stream and not pay for it as heavily because I got no money. Anyway, on that note, later, guys. It's been fun. It's been real. Have a wonderful day.